A lot of students were asking me to cover and explain the tips and tricks for PTE reading section. In this video, I have made sure that I try my best to explain the strategies, tips, and tricks to get the answers correctly and quickly for reading fill in the blanks and reading writing fill in the blanks. Make sure you watch this video till the end. For free PT resources, for free NATI and IELTS resources, go to our website mockmaster.ai, and for PT, IELTS and NATI classes, go to our website oneaustraliagroup.com. I'm Malcolm. Make sure you follow our channel and make sure you like and share this video. Good luck.
Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you.
Good morning, good morning.
Very good morning. Can all of you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Now today is reading, so let's start. Now reading is one of the sections where people are also struggling. The main reason is because PT has reduced the timer in the reading test. Earlier it used to be 28 to 29 minutes. Now it is generally somewhere between 22 to 24 minutes. That is the overall time in reading. And because read aloud doesn't contribute to reading anymore, the dependence of the actual reading score on the actual reading module has increased many folds. That is the problem. So if you're not good at time management, if someone is not good at time management, then you're going to struggle in the real exam in getting your desired score in reading. So what should you do then? Obviously, you need to improve your approach and your time management skills, which is obvious. Now, out of all these 5 tasks, which are the ones which you see on your screen right now, fill in the blanks, reorder paragraphs, and 2 multiple choice tasks. This is really important. This is really important. And the third in priority is reorder paragraphs. This is not important. This is not important. For the first task, which will always be drop down fill in the blanks, you'll get 6 questions generally. For drag and drop blanks, you'll get 5 questions. Total 11 questions. In each question, 4 to 5 blanks. So 11 into 4 is 44. 11 into 5 is 55. Each blank is worth approximately, I'm saying, 0.75 actual points out of 90. So if you get, let's say, 55 blanks, that's going to be somewhere around 42 actual points out of 90, approximately. Okay, just from all the blanks, if they are correct. Reorder paragraphs, you'll get 2 or 3 questions. And those questions will be out of approximately 8 to maximum 12 points out of 90. So fill in the blanks and reorder paragraphs combined are going to give you approximately round figure 55 points out of 90. 55 to, 55-ish approximately. So the remaining points in reading, where will they come from? They'll come from obviously summarize written text and highlight incorrect words and highlight correct summary. These 2 tasks are obviously in listening. Summarize written text is now very important because you get 2 questions, and highlight incorrect words is also important. You get 3 questions generally. So to compensate our lack of accuracy in the actual reading section, we need to be 100% accurate with summarize written text and highlight incorrect words. So at least these 2 tasks combined will give you about 24 to, I would say, 27 points out of 90, which is a lot of points. So that's why you need to be 100% accurate. There are no chances of errors. And in fill in the blanks, if you are about 60 to 70% accurate, that's really good. You can easily get a proficient score of band 7 plus, which is I think around 59 out of 90 now, the requirement in reading. And for a superior score, I think you need 70 out of 90 or 71, something like that.
Sir, how much is 7 each?
59 approximately.
Okay.
But different organizations have different requirements. For example, for nursing, you need 66. So, but for the PR visa, 10 points or 20 points, I think you need 59. You can just check on immi.gov.au. That's the immigration website. And you'll find the required score.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what I'm trying to say is the approach really matters. So now in this first class today, I'll just cover the approach and some rules of grammar, which are generally helpful. And in the next 1 hour from 11:30 to 12:30, we'll solve some examples, okay? Now, if we talk about the approach, let's start with fill in the blanks, reading and writing. Now, what I do and I personally recommend everyone to do is, even before you read the passage, just try to understand very quickly the main words in the sentences. Air pollution, burning of fossil fuels, pollutants, risk, promoting, contribute. Air pollution, negative. Burning of fossil fuels, negative. Pollutants, negative. Promoting, contribution, positive. Risk, negative. So what are we trying to ascertain here very quickly in 5 to 10 seconds is the tone in each sentence. Is it positive or negative? That is the first thing. Secondly, you should see the words ideally before and after the blanks. Release some type of gases. And it is negative. So which negative word can fit? Probably harmful gases. Probably. You need an adjective. Adjective means something to describe the noun, gas. The risk of dash diseases. Firstly, it is negative risk and disease. Disease is also negative. Which type of diseases? You have to think. Before you click, try to guess the answer. Promoting the use of dash energy sources. Promoting is positive. And who is promoting? The government. What will the government promote? Probably renewable energy sources. And the last one, using public transport and dash waste properly. What do you do to waste? You get rid of waste. To get rid of means to dispose. So before you even look at the options, mentally you should be able to guess the options. So here there is harmful and harmless. Obviously harmful. Risk of dash diseases. Which type of disease? Recurring disease, acute, respiratory, chronic. Only such 4 words can fit with the word disease. So you have the word respiratory. Why did I say respiratory? Because air pollution. Air means breathing. Respiratory, respiration. Governments are promoting the use of dash energy resources. Which resources? Probably renewable. And using public transport to and dash waste properly. What do you do? Disposing. Why do we use the ing form over here? Because before and, the verb is using, and using is also in the same continuous tense. So before and after and, the same tense will generally come. So initially when you practice like this, guessing before actually seeing the options, it's a bit hard because you have to think more. It takes more time and many times you'll be incorrect. But once you form this habit, it will be very hard to get rid of this habit, and it's a good habit. And believe me, it will increase your accuracy by leaps and bounds, means many times, very quickly. Leaps and bounds is a phrase, means very fast and a lot of it. So this is a correct approach. This was a very short passage. In the real exam, a lot of people say, oh my God, I got such lengthy questions. But lengthy is not always bad. Sometimes lengthy questions are very easy to solve. The second thing is, nobody has said that in this task, we have to solve from top to bottom. Nobody has said that. In our brain, we follow that approach, which is not always the best approach. If you are not able to solve the first blank, what should you do? You should leave it at that time. Solve the second one. Or solve the last one. So your scanning and skimming speed needs to be really fast. Sometimes you can start from the bottom also. You just need to understand the blank and the words before and after the blank in each sentence. Okay. And you can improve very quickly. So this is one approach. Now, these blanks, they obviously, what do they check? They check your grammar, they check your vocabulary, they check your collocations. They also check your knowledge of tenses, past, present, future, past continuous, past perfect, present perfect, etc. So these are the 4 things which PT will check. Collocations, very important. PT has given its own collocation list. So every day you can read at least 2 pages of the collocation list. You can read aloud by speaking out. Each page has approximately 60 collocations. Collocations are 2 words which are together.
That's from the Google Drive, which we have that from Google.
Just Google PT collocation list.
Okay.
And the first document is a PDF document given by Pearson itself. So you can download it on your phone. It's just a 40-page document. So every night before you sleep, you can just read 2 pages. It is just like 40 or 45 pages in total. One page, believe me, just needs 1 minute. You just have to read aloud, quick, really fast. But your brain will synthesize it. It will, absorb the information you're reading. So in probably 3 weeks, you can finish the entire collocation list. And it will actually help you in improving your English also. And your day-to-day English, will improve. You'll be able to think of phrases while you're writing the essay also. It's a very good thing to understand, actually. Grammar, I'll try to cover in today's class a bit of it. Now, vocabulary is something which takes time to develop, It doesn't develop overnight. But the quickest way is when you solve questions, one way is like actually solving them. And the other way is you click the answer button while you are reading the question itself and read the entire passage with the answers and understand what it's like a story, Now, for example, okay, just for example, let's say I don't know the meaning of the word disposing. I don't know. I just go to Google and search the meaning. Actually, we are also developing a new feature where we can click on the word and we can see the meaning. That is also in progress on the website and on the app both, so that you don't have to even go to Google. But basically, that is the approach. When you know the meaning, then you remember the answers. And the other advantage of reading the entire passage is, right now, like this is a real test question, okay? All of these are real test questions on the portal. Right now, the word disposing is given as the blank. But in the real exam, PT is very smart. They know that people memorize answers from a portal, from Ape Uni, from wherever you practice, etc., etc. So they will give this word as the blank, disposing dash properly, or they will give disposing waste dash. And they'll give you 4 options: properly, nicely, some other 2 words ending with ly. So if you've read the passage and if you've understood the passage, you will find it very easy, in the long run. Even if you don't get the same question, but you get a similar type of question, there is the subconscious memory starts like kicking in. It kicks in when you're solving blanks. Your brain starts working faster. So try, that is another approach. Like before you sleep, if you want to spend just 20 minutes, just quick browsing from the app. Next. At least 15 questions quickly you read before you sleep. So that way also you can improve your fill in the blanks accuracy very quickly. And before the exam, you can also read the blanks which are given in the prediction file. Every month we release the prediction file. But you cannot rely only on the prediction file. If you ask me honestly, what percentage of questions will be repeated from the prediction file? Probably from reading, I would say just 10%. If you're lucky, 20%. So 20% means 2 fill in the blanks. 10% means just probably 1 question. Earlier, it used to be a very high, like a very big number, the repeat number, but now it has fallen down. I mean, fallen, sorry. So, yeah, that is what it is. Now, if you talk about the other types of blanks, which are your drag and drop blanks, these are drop down, the other ones are drag and drop. Some people find those easier, some people find these ones easier. Everyone has a different analytical capability and approach, that's why it's different for everyone, obviously. But still, the approach here should be similar, has many dash benefits, enhances dash abilities, in dash tasks, in dash cultural awareness. Now, one basic rule in grammar is what? That if you have a preposition means what? In, on, off, for, by, these words. After these words, if there is a verb means what? Action. It will end with ing. This is a rule of grammar. Do we have options ending with ing? Yes. We have one option over here. But it has to be a verb. If it's a noun, it will not end. Okay. Or it can be a gerund also. Gerund is a noun ending in ing. Now, if you read this line, learning a new language helps in dash cultural awareness. Which answer will fit over here? Tell me. Helps in improving cultural awareness. It has to fit here. So at least one blank is done. So the point I'm trying to prove here is we don't have to read compulsorily from top to bottom. You can start from the bottom also. You just have to be quick in understanding the words before and after the blank, understanding the context, like what is the passage about, the theme of the passage, and the tone, positive or negative. These 3 things, if you improve, everything will start to become very easy, very quickly. So that should be the correct approach. Okay. I'm not saying that you will get 100% accuracy. No, I'm not claiming that. But you will be at least very quick and quite accurate in solving blanks. So if there are 50 blanks in the exam, at least 30 you will be correct easily. If you're a bit lucky, you can also get 40 or 45 correct out of 50. Bit depends on luck also. Like, sometimes blanks are very close. Now, let's say you don't know the meaning at all. Still, you can use the process of elimination. So at least 1 or 2 blanks, you can eliminate the wrong options. And then you have to try your luck. There is no penalty in this task. For a right answer, you get +1. For a wrong answer, you get 0. So even if you don't know, try your luck. Attempt it. Don't leave it blank. If you're lucky, you'll still get some points. So that should be the correct approach. Now, if you talk about the third task, the third important task, that is reorder paragraphs. Now, what should be the correct approach for reorder paragraphs? Before you start reading the entire story, you need to scan the passage for repetitive words. Generally, paragraphs which have repetitive words make pairs. And in reorder paragraphs, you get 1 point for every correct adjacent pair. So if the correct answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll get 1 point for 1, 2, 1 point for 2, 3, and 1 point for 3, 4. So the maximum score for 4 paragraphs, if correctly placed, will be 3 points. If you scan the repetitive words, there is a very high possibility that those passages or paragraphs with repeating words can form adjacent pairs. There is a chance, there's no certainty, but that is my approach. So at the back of my mind, I'll see which words are repetitive. For example, I can see 3 broad categories. These 3 categories. What is these? These is a pronoun. He, she, it, this, these, those. These are called pronouns. Pronouns always come after nouns. You need a name first and then a reference to that name or thing. So there is a chance that 2 and 3 can form a pair. Then you have words like today. Today means now. So after you see the repetitive words, then try to find out the introduction or the conclusion. Plus, you also have a name. If a name is there, there could be a reference to the name like he, she. And by the way, there is also a 5th sentence below. I didn't see it earlier. 1 minute. Yeah. So first you see, sorry, it's a bit hard to navigate this. 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. So first, you see among them. Now what is them? You need to quickly analyze. Second, you have the full name here, Howard Gardner, and then you have the last name Gardner. So what will come first? Obviously the full name. Then you have 3 broad categories, and then you have beyond these 3 categories. And finally, you have something like today there are 9 intelligences. So today obviously will come somewhere later. And then you have the theory of multiple intelligences. So here also the correct approach should be not to form the story one by one. Rather than forming the entire story, just try to create blocks of pairs as quickly as possible and then try to place the blocks on top of one another. For example, here if you see, which blocks can you form? We can see one pair, 2, 3. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, we can. Which other pair can we see? 5 and 4?
5 and 4.
Howard Gardner, Gardner.
Yeah. And then today one is the last one.
Today probably. Now today where can it fit? Probably it can fit over here or it can fit at the end. But obviously it says today and then it also references 9 intelligences. So obviously
Yeah.
what has to come first? 5 or 1?
One.
Obviously 5 has to come because 5 is the theory of multiple intelligences and then today. So probably the correct sequence can be either 5, 4, 2, 3, 1 or 2, 3, 5, 4, 1. But in reorder paragraphs, you always have to follow the funnel approach. Funnel, you know what's a funnel, right? This is what a funnel looks like. It's, you can find it like at your home or in a chemistry laboratory.
Yeah.
So basically a funnel always has a broad top and a narrow bottom, which means you always start with the main idea first, the bigger picture, and then you start narrowing it down with supporting statements or examples. Finding a conclusion is generally easy. How? Words like today, lastly, now. Or you can also have connectors like therefore, thus, hence, such words. There is another set of connectors which are generally in the middle of the passage. Connectors like what? Moreover, however, furthermore, additionally. Generally, if I see such a word in the beginning of any sentence, my brain immediately puts it either at number 2 or number 3 in the passage. Generally, not always, but generally. That is my instinct placement. And then above or below it, I will try to fit something else. Following the rule of subject-verb agreement or following the rule of noun followed by a pronoun. Okay. So moreover, however, if you see, generally it will be at number 2 or probably number 3. Hence, therefore, thus, such connectors you see, or now, they will be in the conclusion, final position. The other rule in reorder paragraphs is chronology. What is chronology?
Numbers.
Yeah, chronos
Order.
means time in Greek. And logy again is a Greek word which means the study of something, biology, physiology, psychology. So timeline basically, like 1990, 1995, 2001. Now again, there is no, sorry, there is no rule that 1990 will come first, then 1999, then 2000, but 50% chance. So with numbers also, we have to read the words before the number. For example, since 2000. And let's say there is another sentence which says 2010, for example. In such sentences, there is also a chance that the story will start with 2010 first. And then there will be some reference to since 2000 later. So you have to be attentive to the words before the numbers also, sometimes. Then there is another very simple rule, but a very effective rule, which involves articles. What are articles? What are articles? A
And
and the. There are only 3 articles in English, okay? A and an mean a general introduction. They show generality. And the or the means something specific. If you have a noun followed by an article, the first sentence will be with a. For example, very simple example, a king, King James the fourth, whatever. The fourth. And let's say the king. So now let's say you have these 3 sentences somewhere in your passage. So this will be the order. Like once upon a time there was a king. So it is the beginning of a story. His name was. King James the Fourth. Who is his name? A king. And then the king died at a very old age. Who is the king? The needs some specific reference. Specific means name. And the name is King James the Fourth. So a will come first, then the name probably, and then the. Or if there is no name, then it will be a first and then the sentence with the. So these are most of the rules which I have covered for reorder paragraphs. Okay. There are no other rules. Also, when you solve reorder paragraphs, there is a high chance you might make mistakes. Even I make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Nobody can be 100% accurate all the time. It's not possible. But when you read the actual answer, don't keep your mind very rigid. I've seen some people, they waste so much energy and time arguing with the logic of the passage. Why would anyone want to do that? But people are people, they do all sort of stupid things. So what I'm trying to say is, if you know you have made a mistake, just accept it. And learn and remember what is the sequence in the passage. You can't change it. It is what it is. So in your brain, when you read answers of reorder paragraphs, try to make some associations or mental connections. Connections in the way I explained, right? Like 3 broad categories.
Like which connects
And
to each other, so?
so in your brain, try to remember, no, like 2 and 3 are a pair. But why are they a pair? Because of 3 broad categories, these categories. Another pair, Howard Gardner, Gardner. So another pair is 5 and 4. There is also an invisible pair, not an adjacent pair, but some sort of pair. Which pair? The theory of multiple intelligences. Today there are 9 intelligences. So the answer was this, no, 2, 3, 5, 4, and 1. So eventually, this is also some type of a pair. So that is the way you remember the correct sequence of any passage. At least you try to remember. So before your exam, like when I was I've taken PT many times, every time I've got 90 each from my first attempt till my last attempt. You can't even imagine how many times I've taken it just to test different theories and templates, etc. Now I don't, but earlier I've taken many, many times. I used to practice only 2 tasks before I used to enter the test center to just refresh my memory, mainly. One is always reorder paragraphs because this task has less to do with English. And in the exam, it's a very exhausting task. And now with the changes, as I said, the overall timer in reading is not that much. So we really need to have some luck if some questions are repeated. And if we know the answers, it will help us save time and get very important, like crucial points, for our permanent residency visa or whichever visa we are applying for. So one is this task I always used to go through the important questions. Earlier, there was no prediction file, but I used to go through at least 100 to 200 questions in the last 2 days before my exam. And the other task which I always used to revise was answer short questions. Because earlier it used to have a considerable weight in the listening score also. Now it doesn't, but earlier it did. So in the exam, if I were lucky, then I would get few questions repeated, and it helped me boost my confidence and save some time also. So you can also do that. Now coming to the last 2 tasks. The last remaining 2 tasks are multiple choice, multiple answers, and multiple choice, single answers. And by the way, the pattern of the reading test always is like this. This is the first task, this is the second task, third task, fourth task, fifth task. Now, these 2 tasks are not that important. They are time-wasting tasks, to be honest. Now, you only imagine. You have got 6 questions for reading, writing blanks, 5 questions for reading blanks. Let's say 3 questions for reorder paragraphs. 2 questions for these two. 2 plus 2. Now, what is the total number of questions? 6 and 3, 9 and 5, 14 and 4. 18 questions in 22 minutes. So it is a race against time, obviously. Can you afford to lose time in multiple choice tasks? No, you cannot. Do they matter? No, they don't. That much. So probably from multiple choice, choose multiple answers, the maximum score you will be getting is, let's say, 3 points out of 9. Maximum, I'm saying, okay? And from multiple choice, multiple. And multiple choice, single answer, probably 2 points out of 90. And from all the remaining tasks, you'll probably get 50 to 55 points out of 90, approximately, I'm saying. What is more important, 50 or 5? Obviously 50. It's a no-brainer. So that is why we have to focus only and only on the important tasks which actually matter. In multiple choice, multiple answers, which is the second task, you will have a passage, you will have a question. Excuse me. So you will have a passage, you will have a question, and you will have 5 to 6 options, out of which probably 2 or 3 will be correct, because the name of the task is multiple choice, choose multiple answers. Now this task has something called partial negative marking. So for a correct response, you get +1. For an incorrect response, you get -1. But the good thing in this task is the minimum score is capped at 0. Which means, let's say you choose B, but B is incorrect. Still, you will get 0. You will not get -1. And let's say C is a correct option, and you have chosen C. Only one you have chosen, which is correct. You will get +1. You don't have to choose all to secure those points. Only one is enough. So that is why I say that ideal situation would be to get all correct, but that is going to take a lot of time. So probably just be happy by selecting one answer and move on. How much time should you take per question? Probably 30 seconds, not more. Maximum 30. If you don't want to spend, just try your luck. As soon as the question comes, click any one option next, click next, go. In 5 seconds, get done with both. That's it. And such questions are very time-consuming questions. What can we infer from the passage? Because the question itself is not straightforward. So first you have to understand the passage, read the passage. Who has that much time? Nobody. Sometimes the questions are very straightforward. You can read the word in the question and you try to scan the word in the passage. So that technique is called scanning technique. It's very common in IELTS and other tests also. Comprehension tasks, basically. And similarly, you have the last task of multiple choice, choose single answer. That is another useless task. So you'll have one question and you're supposed to choose one answer. Sometimes easy, sometimes it's a waste of time. So don't waste your time. Just focus on the main task. That's it. Okay. Any questions? If not, then okay, Vishal, you have a question?
Yes. Can you just scroll a little bit upper side? Then I need to see the order of the questions for the reading. That's the multiple choice single answer comes always at the last in the PT exam, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Because while I'm taking the test on mock masters, that's comes in between, and
No, in the
right
real
now,
exam, it will always come at the end.
Yeah, no, that's a good habit on our portal that we can consume our time and manage our time to just attempt that questions at the last,
Yes.
the drag and drops one. Good. Thank you.
No worries, welcome. Okay, so now let me quickly explain some rules of grammar. Then we will end this first class and then we will start the actual practice class in a few minutes. So let me open my notepad, okay? Now, grammar is something, again, you cannot learn it like maths, and neither can you learn it overnight. But, plus, like, moreover, the application of the rules also keeps on changing based on the context of the passage and the part of speech. So, here we do have one document in the portal which explains uh, a lot of important rules of grammar. So, here, if you see, ADJ means adjective, N means noun, V means verb, V3 means the third form of the verb. And then there are some examples also which are given. So very quickly, if I want to teach it, let's start. One is a noun. So if we talk about parts of speech, then there is a noun. What is a noun? Noun means name, place,
To
person, or a
describe
thing.
something, yeah,
Yeah.
name, place.
Something which describes a noun is an adjective, like beautiful, smart, kind. These words describe the noun, so they are called adjectives. Then there is a verb. Verb means simply it's an action. Eat, sleep. There are different forms than tenses like continuous. Then ing will come. Sleeping, eating. Something which describes a verb is an adverb. He ran quickly. How did he run? Quickly. So many times adverbs end with the letters ly. So anything which describes a verb, when you ask the question how, you get an adverb. How did the action happen? In this way. Then we have something called a preposition. So you can think of it, something which shows a position, preposition, before the position. What are examples of, on, in, over, under, by, at? Anything which shows a location is a preposition. Then we have a conjunction. What is a conjunction? And, or, but, because. So they join phrases. That's called a conjunction. Then we also have articles. Articles are not parts of speech, but they are important for grammar. A, an, and the. As I already explained, the is used for something specific. A and an are used for a general introduction. A is used before a consonant sound. An is used before a vowel sound. What is a vowel sound? Starting with A, E, I, O, U. Okay. There's also another part of speech called an interjection. Interjection shows an emotion like, oh, exclamation mark. Generally, there's an exclamation mark, or alas means sorrow, sadness. We lost the game. We lost the match. So these are most of the parts of speech. Just a second. And there's one more, which obviously we call a pronoun. Pronoun replaces or addresses the noun, like he, she, it, this, those, they, whom. So all of these are pronouns. They substitute the noun. Now, if we talk about the rules of grammar, the first rule is if you have a blank, which is a verb after is, was, are, were, am, it can either be V3 or V plus ing. V3 means the third form of the verb. V plus ing means the continuous form of the verb. Like she is eating food. So is followed by ing. So these words, these five, are called auxiliary verbs or helping verbs. They help the actual verb. That's why. And the verb can also be a V3 form of verb. For example, the book was lost, L-O-S-T. The book was stolen, E-N. So V3 verbs end with ED, EN, or T, these three letters. The next rule is, if you have a blank after 2, and if it's a verb, generally it will be V1. V1 means the base form of the verb, without ed, without ing. I'm going to eat, but it has to be a verb. Simultaneously, it can also be a noun, like I am going to USA tomorrow. So USA is not a verb, it's a name. So it's a noun. There's another auxiliary to this rule, auxiliary or corollary, means an exception to the rule. Sometimes after 2, we can also have a word ending with ing. So then it's not a verb, it's a noun called a gerund, G-E-R-U-N-D. That is a special type of a noun which sounds like a verb, but actually it is a noun. For example, I look forward to hearing from you soon. So this is the correct form of English. You don't say I look forward to hear, you always say ing. Okay. But it is rare. Generally, after 2, you have the first form. The next rule is after a modal, you always have compulsory rule. You have V1 only. What is a modal? Can, will, must, could, should. There's also another rule that after words like does, did, you always need V1. For example, I did not go to the school yesterday or went to the school yesterday. Which is the correct answer? Go.
Mm.
The first form, not went, not the past form.
So why not went? I went
Because,
to school yesterday, so normally we say,
but I'm saying no with the word did.
ah,
Did is there, no?
that's why this is the example of gerund, yeah?
Not gerund. Gerund was ing after 2.
Okay.
For example, a lot of people make this mistake. Like I did not get you or I did not got you. Like I did not understand this. That is the meaning. But which is the correct word? Get or got?
I didn't get you.
I didn't or I did
Get
not
you.
get you,
Get
not
you.
got you.
Okay.
But this
Yeah.
is so common, so many people
Yeah.
make this mistake all the time.
Yep.
So you need V1 after such words.
Is this apply with positive sentence as well?
Doesn't matter positive, negative. It's a grammar rule. So yes, it does apply to every type of sentence. Another is, it is not a rule, but one of my or one of dash. So this word has to end with S, compulsory. Another common mistake, you will hear so many of your friends say this. What will they say? One of my friend is coming today. This is wrong. One of means itself means one of many. And many means what? Plural. So it should be always ending with S. One of my students, one of my houses. It's always a plural noun. Please be careful. Next is after has, have, had. If it is a verb, generally it will be V3. ED, ending with ED, EN or T. And if it is after has been, have been, had been, which form will come? Either V3
Or
or
ing.
ing. Similar rule applies to is being or was being or are being. Again, mostly ing. Next is if the first word of a sentence is a blank, the first word, and then there is a comma. Mostly it will be a connector. Connector means moreover, additionally, thus, therefore, hence, however, furthermore. All of these words are followed by a comma. Remember. The next rule is if the first word is a blank and there is no comma after the blank, then it will be a word like, mostly an adverb like, although, because, since, in spite of, despite. With despite, we don't use of. So in such cases, there is no comma after the blank, the first word, but there is a comma always somewhere later in the sentence, and then the tone of the sentence will change. So if there is no comma, then it will be something like this. The next rule is, if there is a sentence, there is a comma in the sentence, after the comma, immediately there is a blank. And if it is a verb, there is a very high chance that it will be in the ing form. And the last thing is, after a and, there can be two things if it is a blank. Either it can be a noun or it can be an adjective describing the noun. Like a dash day, a beautiful day, a smart student. Now, adjectives, there's no rule as such, but many times you will see adjectives end with the letters IC, like fantastic movie, or UL, beautiful, thoughtful, T, that is smart, diligent, so ENT, permanent. So all these words are adjectives. And as I said, unrelated to this, but as I said, adverbs many times end with the letters LY. Generally, specially, especially, occasionally. So most of the rules have been covered here. There is one more very important rule, and that is of I already explained it, but once more I'll say, after a preposition, if there is a blank, 100% it will be verb plus ing. What is a preposition? Of, in, for, by, on, at. If there is a verb, it has to end with ing. So keep your eyes open for such words before the blanks. And perhaps the last and the most important rule is called subject-verb agreement. If you understand this one rule, you will never make a mistake in your entire life when you're writing an essay or with write from dictation also. It's a very simple rule which says that a singular noun will be followed by a singular verb and vice versa. A plural noun will be followed by a plural verb. Instead of a noun, it can also be a pronoun. Now, for example, he sits on the bench. Now, he is singular or plural? Singular means one, plural means more than one. What is he? Singular. So, a singular noun will be followed by a singular verb. Singular verb ends with S. And similarly, if it is they, THEY, it will be sit on the bench. Plural. So for a noun and a pronoun, noun and a verb pair, it is very easy to understand. A student sits on the bench. Students sit on the bench. So if the noun does not end with S, the verb will end with S. And if the noun ends with S, the verb will not end with S, but still it is a plural verb. So singular verbs end with S, plural verbs don't end with S. But you have to understand the entire sentence. For example, a group of students play or plays the match. Which is the correct word?
Play.
Please. Please.
Which is the main subject over here in this sentence?
Group. Group.
Huh. So whenever you have a sentence or a phrase with of or in, the word before that is the subject. A group, one. Singular. So the verb will be plays, singular verb. A group of students plays the match. You cannot consider students as a subject here because it is a collection of students, a group, one. So plays. So this is a very common mistake which a lot of people make in essay writing. And the software immediately picks up that mistake when you do that mistake in the essay. And then the grammar score goes down very quickly. So you have to be careful in such sentences. The same rule you can apply to check your answers when you're doing write from dictation. Instead of adding extra words, just double check your answers. That is the subject verb agreement in place or not? And write any one correct, grammatically correct answer. Okay. All right. Any doubts, any questions? No?
I have one doubt. In point number 7, you have written is being verb plus ing.
It can also be V3.
Yes, okay.
For
Thank you.
example, they are being followed by someone. So it will be follow plus ed, V3.
Okay, thank you.
They are being fooled by someone. So ing will not come generally. It will be V3. Yes. V3 most of the time. All right.
Oh,
Okay. So somebody has a question. Can you explain rule number 8? Yeah, rule number 8, as I mentioned, if the first word of your blank is followed by a comma, mostly it will be a connector. Moreover, however, hence, thus, therefore. Similarly, these words can also come in between two commas. So let's say there's a sentence, there is a comma, there is a blank, there is a comma. So between two commas, again, you generally need a connector like moreover, additionally, so. Even the word so can come. So these are called connectors, connecting words. They generally are followed by a comma. And if they are in the middle of the sentence, they are also preceded by a comma. So we need a comma at both places. Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay. So guys, we have the second link. Please join now with that second link, which is for 11:30. It's already shared on the WhatsApp groups. And I'll join you now after 1 minute in the second class. Okay. Hope you all understood and found this class important and valuable. So I'll see you all soon. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks. Bye.